Hello everyone, it's Jack from Cultaholic.com here with some breaking news. CM Punk has been confirmed to be making his first wrestling affiliated appearance since leaving the business years and years ago. I'm just a bit shocked because Twitter's going crazy right now. We thought we'd run into the studio and report on that straight away. So All In and Cody Rhodes, as they've been doing in the build-up to the event on September 1st, have been tweeting things about not just the event and people who are appearing at the event, but people who are going to be appearing at StarCast, which is like the whole convention thing beforehand. And also, they were plugging today a surprise, massive special guest appearance at the Pro Wrestling Tees store in Chicago, Illinois, which will take place on August 31st, the day before All In. So I saw all that and I thought, oh, that's quite interesting. And then Adam Pacitti looked up across to my desk and went, have you seen who this is? It's CM Punk. I was like, what are you talking about? Now, ever since All In was announced, even before All In was announced, it taking place in Chicago or on the outskirts of Chicago, CM Punk's name was tied to it. You know, it was a big indie event. If there was ever a stage for Punk to make his return to wrestling, it would surely be All In, this big rebellious indie sort of event celebrating the best of indie wrestling. Obviously very highly tied to Ring of Honor and all their roster and that sort of thing, but it was essentially a standalone event promoted by Cody Rhodes and both Young Bucks. Now, I thought that Punk would be in some way maybe involved, but I didn't think it would be announced this early, and I didn't think it would be this explicit. I didn't think they'd be saying, right, he's definitely going to be at this store August 31st, go and meet him, off you go. Like, I'm in a state of excited shock right now. Now, this is of course tremendously exciting because it then opens the door for Punk to be involved the next night at All In. I mean, it only makes sense now, surely. But then again, if he was to make an appearance, would they have announced him for a meet and greet the day before? Or would they have just kept it a secret and then he could have wandered out to an even bigger reaction? I don't know, it's one of those things where you can't quite work out why they've done it. Have they done it just to get more wrestling fans into the area on that weekend and Punk actually has refused to do anything at All In itself? Or is it just to make sure that more tickets are sold and then Punk will come out and do something? I honestly don't know. Of course, let's bear in mind that CM Punk has his second UFC fight, and they said match there, his second UFC contest on June 9th against Mike Jackson. That's his opponent. Obviously, Punk has a 0-1 MMA record so far, but regardless of that, like, win or lose, he seems to have agreed to appear in Chicago around the time of All In. It's huge news, and it could, I don't want to like stoke up too much, you know, excitement here, but it could lead to his return to wrestling. Obviously, Punk hasn't been seen in a pro wrestling ring ever since he walked out of WWE in 2014. Well, I say walked out, but he sat at home and then was eventually fired infamously on his wedding day, as he revealed in that monumental Colt Cabana podcast, where he kind of lifted the lid on a lot of his time in WWE and the various sort of gripes he had with the company and the way things are booked and the way that medical stuff's handled there and all that sort of stuff. It was a groundbreaking moment for wrestling, and it sort of cemented Punk almost in the minds of many fans as a martyr, someone who left WWE and it became a better place because of that. Like Daniel Bryan became champion. You know, we arguably wouldn't see the likes of AJ Styles holding the WWE Championship or Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, all very indie wrestlers making it big in WWE. That can all be traced, if you're of that mindset, that can all be traced back to CM Punk. I believe Punk's last match in WWE was the 2014 Royal Rumble, and since then he hasn't wrestled in any promotion. He's gone on record, I believe, saying beforehand that he would be open to a return to the wrestling business, but not WWE. Apparently that soured his love of wrestling so much, he never wants to return. Obviously, wrestlers have said that in the past. People like Bret Hart, we never thought would return to WWE, but then he did, you know, the Hall of Fame and all that sort of stuff, and then obviously got involved in the ring a bit later on and actually won the US Championship. So obviously, never say never in the world of professional wrestling, but this is potentially huge news. In more WWE related news now, Big Cass has reportedly, according to Pro Wrestling Sheet, got himself a little bit of heat backstage for something he did during that segment on SmackDown where he beat up a little person dressed as Daniel Bryan. Now, apparently, Big Cass wanted to beat up the Bryan impersonator a lot more than was allowed. Essentially, he wanted to really go for it in a big vicious heel attack. Apparently that was nixed backstage. Both a few agents and Vince McMahon himself said no, just hit him with one big boot and then gloat and raise your hand in the air and all that sort of thing. Then apparently Cass went off script, booted him and then mounted him and started throwing punches down, which apparently is not what he was meant to do at all. So I don't know how true this is, but it's being reported online, and yeah, this could, obviously when wrestlers go off script, it's a big deal. I remember Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn did it fairly recently where they left the arena rather than selling a beatdown from the New Day. This was on the UK tour last year, I think. But this one also seems pretty big, and it's especially, if it is true, especially silly for Cass to do, given the position he's currently in. He could be on the cusp of a big push over on SmackDown Live. More on those stories as they develop, particularly that CM Punk news, which could change the business again. He could change the business again, I don't know. That's all for now. Thank you very much for watching this news video. I've been Jack from Cultaholic.com. You can follow me on Twitter at JackTheJobber. You can follow all of us at Cultaholic. And you can check out our Patreon as well if you want, patreon.com/Cultaholic. And never, ever forget, of course, to join us.